The hype around app builders is real since they can now build surprisingly functional applications. But what if we take two of the best web app builders out there, Base44 versus Replit, use the same prompt for both, and then compare how well they bring our ideas to life? Sounds like fun. Which platform is better? I'll be answering just that in this Base44 versus Replit AI builders comparison. In today's video, I'll look at pricing, editing, experience, app quality, and overall AI workflows. If you want to follow along or want to save money, I'll have the latest and greatest discount deals down in the description, or you can get them by scanning the QR code on the screen. Now, before we even get started building anything, let's cover one difference that probably became obvious to you immediately when you followed those links in the description. Base44 and Replit approach pricing almost completely differently. Base44 feels much more segmented and flexible depending on what kind of user you are, while Replit feels more developer-oriented right from the start. The gap between Replit Core and Pro is pretty aggressive to say the least, while there's more of a gradual scaling between plans with Base44, which is way more accessible if you're just starting out. For this comparison, I've used Base44's Builder Plan and Replit Core because they felt like the most realistic middle ground for testing real-world app generation without going fully enterprise mode right away. Also, I don't have that kind of money anyway, okay? And honestly, I preferred Base44's credit system almost instantly. Replit's structure isn't bad, but Base44 was just easier to understand. Replit uses effort-based pricing where your AI usage burns credits based on how demanding your prompts and workflows are. Smaller edits barely use anything, but larger generations or more complicated tasks can suddenly consume credits much faster. Could you anticipate and calculate how many small and/or big edits your app is going to need? If you're like me, then no way. You're probably not even sure where the line between small and big edits lies. I know I have no idea. And that's the main problem. Long-term use becomes harder to predict financially with Replit. Base44, on the other hand, separates everything into very clear buckets. You get message credits for actually talking to the AI while building the app, then separate integration credits for databases, uploads, and all that good backend stuff. Meaning I can estimate my usage much more easily. And for scalable AI apps, that predictability matters a lot more than many people realize. Again, if you want to compare the exact plans yourself, check the links in the description or scan this QR code. Okay, now that we know how the pricing models work, let's learn how to make an app with AI. For this video, I've decided to build a bicycle rental app because it'll show pretty much the perfect middle ground scenario. Complex enough to expose weaknesses, but simple enough that both platforms should realistically be able to handle it. Plus, it's a pretty decent business idea. My dream app should include booking flows, bike categories, well, you can see everything on screen. Luckily for you and me, we don't need to manually engineer giant prompts anymore because both platforms already include conversational AI workflows. And in my opinion, this works way better than just asking for a single all-encompassing prompt. The AI actually helps you brainstorm ideas as you build the app. For this video, I used an external LLM to create my prompt, but like I said, you can also brainstorm with the AI itself if you need to. Here's the prompt that I used on both platforms. But after submitting, the first difference appeared almost immediately. When it comes to my Replit review here, I noticed this app was noticeably slower during generation. Meanwhile, a Base44 review of the same process found this provider finished building significantly faster. I mean, Replit took almost twice as long as Base44 did before its first usable version appeared. Now, to be fair, both first-generation outputs were genuinely impressive. These builders managed to create responsive layouts, bike cards, mobile-friendly pages, booking flows, and surprisingly functional UI structures from a single, relatively simple prompt. Honestly, even a year ago, this level of generation would sound completely ridiculous, but these days, AI capabilities are advancing faster and faster. But they're still not perfect. Both platforms clearly struggled with image generation, as some visuals ended up broken, random, or completely unrelated to bicycles. I mean, what even is this? So the initial setup was pretty good on both platforms, but once I started editing, I found even more differences. At first glance, both platforms technically support visual editing. Technically. However, in actual use, they work very differently. In Base44, I can literally click on a button, section, navbar, text block, or specific UI element and tell the AI exactly what I want changed directly on that component. For example, I can type in things like, make this more modern, increase spacing, or turn this into glass morphism. and the AI applies changes specifically to that exact area. The process genuinely feels really natural because I'm basically talking directly to the interface itself instead of constantly fighting the AI. Basically, I need to know less technical jargon. I can just point and say, fix this. Meanwhile, in Replit, even though visual editing is available, you have to rely much more on the main prompt workflows or manual adjustments. And that creates a relatively simple problem. Unless your prompts are very precise and you have the technical jargon memorized, the AI sometimes starts modifying larger sections of the interface rather than the one that you actually wanted to change. Or alternatively, you suddenly become responsible for manually fixing design issues yourself, which kind of defeats the whole purpose of using an AI to build apps. I, for one, want as little manual labor as possible. So Base44 almost feels like every UI element has its own dedicated AI chat box, while Replit still mostly operates through one central prompting workflow. Hey, not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. For those of you who have development experience, this might be exactly what you're looking for. But no matter which type of user you are, if you want to try these app builders yourself, both discount links are in the description below. Moving on to more coding and customization, Replit is fundamentally still a real cloud-integrated development environment with AI built in. You're working inside an actual developer environment with terminals, raw code, package management, debugging, etc. AI simply helps accelerate that process. So even though Replit can absolutely generate apps from prompts, you still need some comfort with development tools to fully utilize the platform long term. Base44 approaches the problem from the opposite direction. It feels much more like an AI-first, no-code app builder that happens to also include back-end coding capabilities underneath. The platform tries to remove most technical friction entirely. No manual setup, no dependency management, no server configuration, no framework choices. It's fully focused on beginners. You mostly interact through prompts, visual workflows, UI adjustments, and conversational AI. Meanwhile, databases, back-end functionality, and all that good stuff are largely handled automatically behind the scenes. Now, to be fair, Base44 still gives you access to generated code, APIs, databases, and version history. And there's even an export to mobile feature and a direct GitHub integration. So technically, there is still a developer layer underneath the platform, but it's not comparable to Replit. Okay, so after comparing them side by side and learning how to build an app with AI, the biggest surprise wasn't app quality. Both platforms already produce genuinely impressive results. The real difference was the overall workflow experience. Base44 feels like an AI-native product built for speed and efficiency, where Replit feels more like a serious development platform that uses AI to accelerate engineering. Neither approach is objectively wrong, but they target very different user types. Which type are you? Hopefully at this point you know which builder is right for your next app, and considering how fast this entire AI builder space is evolving right now, this comparison will probably look completely different again in 6 months from today, which is honestly both exciting and slightly terrifying at the same time. But that's enough existential ponderings for one day. I hope you liked this video. If it helped you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Good night.